we're gonna have a decent amount of news because again we were away for like 3 weeks, so I'm just gonna try to go through it as quickly as possible. First set of news is centered around AI, which I know everybody loves.
Fuck.
So apparently, Naro FanDB, an unofficial Twitter account for the Japanese novel website Shosetsuka ni Naro, the fan fiction site that has birthed many isekai stories, posted on April 27th that a public data set from the Ryoko AI project scraped about 711,000 works from the website.
Very cool.
Netizens questioned the ethics of using works for Shosetsuka ni Naro, which can be viewed publicly without registering an account. Shosetsuka ni Naro's terms of use itself forbid users from engaging in any acts that may infringe on copyrights, trademarks, or other intellectual property rights of the site's HINA project maintainers or other users. So users can read works on the website without agreeing to the terms of use, but intellectual property laws can still apply without the terms of use as well. So
The issue is, I'm pretty sure Japan recently uh, made amendments to their copyright law to where like AI is like fucking exempt from that shit. So like,
yeah.
That's so cool.
What's
yeah,
what's really frustrating is also like they're all about, like, oh, anti-piracy. We got to make sure that these,
Yeah,
writers and
anti-piracy, but
illustrators
also
are
like
but
AI.
also yeah,
Oh,
AI
okay.
can
yeah.
just scrape an entire fucking website of like
Yeah.
original stories, and there's like nobody bats an eye.
And also, it's not even like it would be one thing if Shosaska ni Naro was again much like fanfiction.net in the West, where no Hollywood, publisher or anybody gave a fuck about it, right? But Shosaska ni Naro right now is currently literally the fount of so many anime in the industry right now. Like the
Well,
people,
bitch, now you
publishers,
can
editors
get
are
infinite isekai, okay?
yeah, you can get all of the
This
isekai.
shit already
Um,
sounded like it was written by an AI. Now we get the real thing.
yeah, now we just get the endless eight without,
Endless
the actual
AI
people. Yeah,
built only
endless
off
AI.
of Shosetsu. Oh yeah.
God damn it. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the fight going on, and I hope that
Yeah,
the
I mean, I think
uh,
it's gonna be really interesting to see like what sort of like weird implosion happens because of these two things being at odds with themselves. Like Nerd
yeah, yeah,
said,
yeah.
I feel like that is definitely going to cause like a massive shakeup in like some sort of like Japanese like courts.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be weird because uh I think if also this sort of bubble is going to implode or like some weird thing's going to happen, it's going to be some sort of massive gathering, like organization, union, like kind of thing between artists and writers of all kind of uh from all roads, kind of at the you know, kind of combined together, right, against corporate heads who are just like, yeah, of course we could just use AI to create all these guys, and we can cut, Shiosuke Setsuka Ninado out of the equation. Of course we can use AI art instead of, hiring any sort of illustrators and cut these out, and just like trying to cut out literally every single level of the anime industry.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
mean,
gonna be that sort of
I
fight
would
that's going.
definitely hope that it does lead to like some sort of like union like movement, union mobility,
Hmm.
or like at least those same like sort of mentality. But I think also it might be really interesting to see like corporations like that do either own the rights or tangentially like have a stake in like some part of like these properties that are getting scraped now.
Hmm.
Um, eat kind of like eat each other alive. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah, yeah.
what happens when like, let's say like fucking I don't know, like some like Toei tries to use something like some AI shit that's scraped that's something that like Toho owns. Like what happens? Like what's that gonna be like? Um I think that's gonna be very funny. I think
Mm,
that's gonna be very interesting to see sort of how that goes down. Um
yeah.
I don't particularly have much faith in, you know, the Japanese as as a sort of what would you call that? But just in general, like them sort of using this as a lesson of like, maybe the way we go about tackling piracy is really fucking stupid and like contradictory. But I don't have too much faith in that happening. So
Yeah.
I kind of just want to see them like sue each other over and over again for like billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah. Oh. So, and the next piece of AI news is here. I think this was a tweet posted by a manga Mugra Ri.
Yeah.
So, representatives of the web platform Manga Okoku, I believe this is Okoku. I think we covered this before, right? About the AI, like their AI initiatives or whatever.
Yep.
Or are we talking about the
But
AI? Was that the AI localization thing?
yeah, I think that
Is that
was
what
like
we're
the
talking
AI
about? Yeah.
localization thing.
Yeah, this is a different thing.
So I think this same organization, but like different story. They reveal the creation of the Aiken AI remake, which is an initiative to reintroduce classic manga to modern times. According to
What
them,
does
in a
that mean?
newly published
It means
interview,
taking an old manga and turning it into literal AI slop garbage.
yeah,
So
according to
like
them,
they
in a
would
newly
they'll
published,
remake like the quote unquote remake the art
Yes,
and
they
shit.
they
they
just run the
literally
art through
they
AI.
yes, they
Yeah,
feed the panel into the AI and then it turns out some fucking dog shit slop and they put that into a panel.
Hmm.
You can see
That
you can if you click on the
it's
tweet,
awesome, bro.
if
It's
you click
what
on the
everybody
tweet and you
wants.
look through the replies, you can see the comparisons and it's
Yeah.
genuinely the most dystopian shit I've ever seen.
And also, it doesn't make it any easier to read. Like that's the whole point. That's the point, right? Isn't that what? Okay, so it's like, according to them,
I
in a
mean,
newly
I think
published
I think the
interview.
thing that you're missing is I think this is what Nir was saying earlier to the extreme and how like
Mhm.
making it easier to read. It's like
Yeah,
dummies being like, this manga drawing seems old.
yeah. According to them, in a newly published interview, fans request to read works in color on their phones. Older works that were meant to be read on paper make it difficult. However, AI gives them an opportunity to correct it. Just get a color corrector. Just get why do you
What?
need
Wait,
AI
what?
to
What are they
redraw this?
talking about?
Or just
or
do new scans
yeah,
of the old
or
works and
yeah, exactly.
upres the text.
Yeah,
Boom. It's more
exactly.
readable now.
Like
Now it's
Yeah.
more
eh,
readable.
What?
like when people are trying to, preserve old documents, they're not like we need AI to recreate this doc. They're just like, okay, we need a proper fucking like correction to piece these things together, bro. Like
Yeah.
what was going on? Um just, I don't know, man. It's very like I, even when older like texts or like older artifacts, like when scientists use AI to have older artifacts or older like whatever to like recreate it, it's when those things are literally like disintegrating. Like things that just need a color correction don't need AI. Like, what are you talking about,
Yeah.
bro? Yeah. And people in here are just like, oh, they remade it and it's awesome. So but because they it's like, I bet this is still a problem. And somebody was like, well, this AI thing looks like crap, and
Yeah, it
he
looks like
the
shit,
guy,
bro.
yeah, and
Like
It
the
all
the
guy,
looks. I
argument
mean,
of like the
it
argument of
like
like
all looks the same as
who's it
well.
harming?
Like,
What's the harm? It's
mm,
like, well, there isn't really any harm inherently, but the fact is of the matter is this is a sort of project and undertaking that is effectively ruining and killing any motivation for actual proper like preservation of these works, right? Like
yeah,
if the whole motivation of this is to like bring an old work back into like younger viewers' eyes, you could literally just, like I said, scan the old work again
yeah,
with
upres.
modern tools, redo the text so it works on a digital screen, right? Because the main issue with a lot of these older works is um, they're meant to be read on paper, right? And so the text
Mhm.
doesn't, the text might lack some detail. It might not be as clear. It might be
Yeah, yeah,
fuzzy
yeah,
around the edges,
yeah,
which
yeah,
can
yeah.
obviously be an issue with
Just like the
Japanese
inking details.
characters.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and so if you just rescan the pages and then have somebody go through and manually do the text again with sort of a digital font, then bam, you now have a new, highly preservable version of this classic series that you can effectively just resell on digital
Yeah.
storefronts and subscription models, right?
And now you
Yeah,
did it,
and
and now you get to
realistically,
keep it
like
forever.
But now
as far as like
they've done this dumbass AI thing, and they effectively just they can't do that anymore because they've committed to this shitty bit of being like, oh look, it's in color now, and it also lacks any soul, and nobody is gonna want to read this because it
yeah, I
looks
mean
like shit.
AI art typically like I mean you see it like there's a reason why people can spot it because it fucking like people always try and say oh yeah you know you look for like the molding of like things into each other. It's like I feel like at this point like you can look
The
at
lighting,
something
yeah,
and be like
exactly.
you can
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
lighting, you can
Yeah,
look
lighting
at
and
like how it's
shading.
colored, you can look at just the quote unquote style of it and you're like oh this is AI. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is definitely AI because it's not even like trying to do like any sort of distinct style whatsoever. Like it all looks exactly the same.
And I also want to
Especially
point
when you're
out, yeah.
exposed to like AI like ads and shit constantly now, you're gonna be
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
recognize this. Like I know exactly what I'm
yeah,
looking at. And just another thing too, I feel like this is the sort of what you were saying near. This is kind of like the same exact vibe of the same exact process of like when people try to say like, oh, well, uh, who is my absolute dog shit translation of a series hurting? Hmm. And
Yeah,
it's like, well, now no one wants to translate this because there's already like no
yeah,
one's
like
like
the attention has already been grabbed,
yeah
essentially.
by like
yeah.
a really shitty translation. Um,
And like whenever the people who are like, oh, well, you could always make your own translations if you want, or like, oh, you can always make your own like whatever if you want, are always the first ones. Like, if an actual competitor comes up, they're like, they're like stealing my, they're sniping
yeah, I
my
got here
work, bros.
first.
They're
I got here
they're
first. It's
I gotta
like,
get
yeah,
more
well,
chapters. Please donate to me on my coffee Patreon, $50 so I could
Yeah.
do one more machine translated paragraph, please. Like they're always like the same people. So, um,
yeah,
and
this
I
shit
also one thing
sucks.
I, yeah, one thing I also want to add is that Nier said that what is it? This initiative kills motivation for like properly preserving older series. I agree with that, and not only do I agree with that, I think it'll actually this AI technology kills two birds, and not just one. The other bird that it kills is that it's very clearly a push to try to cut out the illustrators more and more of these sorts of
Yeah,
series.
obviously.
Um,
Oh yeah,
and it's so sad that like dumber, and I will be very honest, dumber viewers and readers are just like, yes, this is the AI slop we need. Like one of the guy commenting on this thread is just like, or somebody was like, this AI looks like shit. And the other guy's like, so does the original. I'm like, you are completely like this is your point went so like you the point is here, and you just went like 5 states away from the point. Like
Like
I mean, plus it's also like
even if the original has an art style that you don't like,
yeah,
it's like that is the manga. That's the manga. That's
yeah,
how the
exactly.
yeah,
mangaka
and
drew
and
it.
and the
That's
thing
how
is
they
too
wanted
is like if
it to
there are
be drawn.
genuine, which like some of this stuff, like obviously like there are genuine like what would you call it, like mistakes or like oversights or whatever of like you know just like common practice now of like whether it be proportions and I'm not talking about like exaggeration like they're straight up like some of these like there's a panel there where like the leg it's like yeah leg does not concave like that
Yeah, exactly.
and like you know but that is a product of its time like doing things like this like we have
And the
learned
product of the
more
artist,
in
yeah, yeah,
general of like yeah artists like as a whole like still learn more as time goes on that's why like comics can like just commonly like look better in like a faster like pace you know what I mean like just in general like our art has like evolved like artists have like gained like a sort of like collective knowledge over
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
years in general and if it was and realistically like, what you were saying Spire, like if this was worth doing like going to this level like okay so then just like if the mangaka is still around and they'd be down for it, even if they would only be overseeing it, yeah, guess what? How about a redraw, a remake of the manga then?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
not fucking just AI bullshit. Like to like have them essentially try to preserve their style, but like, brush it up. Like essentially how they would draw it in that style like now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Rather than just like have a fucking AI shit something out.
And I think a big example of, you know, when you might not want this very obvious like polished AI art is like imagine this very obvious example, very I'm surprised somebody hasn't pointed this out yet. What if it happened to One Punch Man, like the actual like web comic or like whatever it was, right? The original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, do it to One
Do you,
Punch Man, do it to Mob Psycho, do this
yeah,
to Dragon Ball.
yeah,
Because like you can like look at this art and be like, oh man, like some of this is like fucked up, like some of this is ugly, like some of this is this and that. It's like, I mean, if
yeah,
you
yeah,
look at fucking Dragon Ball, that's not exactly like the face of like fucking pristine, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's kind of like, its own
It's
style and
timeless. Yeah,
charming.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Um,
It's
and yeah, like run that through this. Like
yeah,
run that
it's
through the fucking AI filter, and you should immediately be able to tell what the issue is here.
yeah, it's very sad, honestly, and I hope that again for me, I doing AI for like experimental, like how far can AI get? Perfectly fine. Using AI right now to be like, we gotta get on AI technologies, we gotta disrupt the industry, we gotta make AI. Blah, blah. Doing this, not fine, and do not fucking come to like any industry with this sort of slop and expect it to be accepted well, and b more disturbingly for it to be paid in a similar manner or to make profits on a similar on a similar level as like actual professional work. Like that's just that's just disrespectful. So but yeah, I like the NFT stuff as well. It's very again disappointing. Um, Next piece of news. Again, sorry for the little bit of AI tangent, but a lot of these things coming out lately, so
I
we
mean, more of
we
them
have
are
to.
gonna start coming out because
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
Japan fucking loves AI. They're like
yeah,
all hands on deck on that shit. So
yeah.